to you edutainment and funny at the same time.
All right.
Get your funny where you get your money. No,
That's what's up.
Don't do that. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not responsible for anything my co-diva is going to say because she is always off the chain.
That's true.
She's chainless. We don't own any of the topics we're going to talk about because we don't want to buy them. They're too expensive.
That was funny.
Look for our videos, episodes every Wednesday. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts.
Google us.
Find our videos every Wednesday on YouTube where we push them real good. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, coming out the 2024 blocks is the New Year's Eve celebration called Watch Night Service. Pastor in DeKalb County, Georgia, William Murphy.
My county too.
Coming to the stage. Is Walk It Out. Okay, listeners, what are we talking about? There's a big controversy in Atlanta, Georgia. DeKalb County pastor William Murphy, who's also a musical artist and a pastor, decided to play on the exit of the Watch Night service 2 songs. One was Walk It Out, and the other one was surfing.
Swag surfing, I guess.
The controversy. I'm picking up her dictionary for 24.
Oh, don't blame it on me, honey.
The controversy is.
Are you going to say it right this time? Who fault is that one? After you corrected yourself, who fault? Who fault was that?
Let me put it this way.
Try it again.
The issue is.
Let's change the word. Let's change the word.
The issue is that he should not have been playing secular music in the church. I disagree with the people who disagree with the pastor.
Heathen.
Because I'm a woman of Christ.
Let's say woman of the night.
And my issue is that who are these uncircumcised Philistines who are calling God's people uncommon and unclean? Ladies and gentlemen, I don't have a problem with it. What's your take?
My take is, what happened to we supposed to be the salt of the earth? My take is, what happened to...
No,
I'm not saying you asked me.
Not salty on the earth.
I said, what happened to we're supposed to be the salt of the earth? That's what I said. Only you are getting words mixed
You're
up
salty
today.
On the earth.
Okay. So what happened to us being the salt of the earth? What happened to in Christ, you're a new creature? What happened to don't do what the pagans do? Like, hello, hell. Just come on with it. Hell is coming. And I'm not saying these people are going to hell. So let me not say that. But when we look like everybody else and we're not standing, we're not the light of the earth, then what we doing? Like,
okay. So my response to that is, when the world has a better marketing plan to get customers.
You know how to be in a movie? In the world.
When
they have a better marketing
So
plan.
when the world has a better marketing strategy to get customers, to get people, to get followers, to get people to do what they want them to do, which is buy my product, has a better strategy than the church, then that's why the number of people who want to attend church has been reduced.
Well, when you are in the building and you're not being Christ-like. Christ didn't stay in a building. Christ went out to reach the people, and he was about action. So if you're sitting in a church listening to self-help speeches and giving out tithe money, don't nobody want to be bothered with that. That's not interesting. But Christ went out to help the poor. Christ went out to help this person and heal and this and give and that. And I haven't seen the church do it since the civil rights movement. So they have been null and void. So no, I don't want to be a participant. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. You don't do nothing. You don't, your political aspirations have been canceled because you're a 504c3 or whatever. So you can't even add to the community. All you do is collect that check, which also means that you following Old Testament scripture where you tell us you're not supposed to follow Old Testament. I'm not here for it.
So let me say this. If the church was marketing just like how business is marketing, if you build it, they will come.
No.
You ever notice when there's not a Costco in your neighborhood and people start saying, oh, don't put a Costco in a black neighborhood. They're not going to come. They'll drive all the way to the white neighborhood to visit a Costco. It's the same. It's not if you build it in the black neighborhood,
so why these churches empty then?
Build us because they're hypocrites.
The liquor store don't have to advertise.
Yes, they do.
No, they
yes,
don't.
they do.
No,
Get
they
this
don't.
good high. This is the great gin. This one right here
No,
is
but
smooth.
you don't have to advertise.
They advertise.
Marsha, what I'm saying is that
but they do.
What I'm saying is this. What I'm saying is this. When I'm driving down, the liquor companies do, but the liquor stores don't have to. When I'm driving down, the message is Christ, right? The liquor stores have different, messages of different liquor or whatever.
No, they don't have any.
But when I'm driving down and I see a package store, when I'm driving down and I see a package store, I see cars in line at the package store. I see package stores on every corner, and they don't have to advertise, and they're doing just fine. But the churches...
First of all, I need to correct you. They're not called package stores unless they're in the white neighborhood. In the black neighborhood, they're called liquor stores.
They're called package stores in my neighborhood.
You didn't see the difference between the liquor and the package?
They're called package stores.
Did you ever ask yourself, what's the difference between the liquor store and the package
your
store?
neighborhood's getting gentrified.
They about to put your black ass out. So there's no average. The liquor store itself, they're not saying, Bob's Liquor, come see us for your tequila. They're not doing that. So just like the churches, the thing is that because your message is enticing, but your message in a building where all you want is the money is not. So if you're out here doing the work, when I see you doing the work, I see Christ on you. I see Christ point. More so on you.
I think we are too focused on the building, and we want to worship a building. Like, in this building. But if you if I am doing something for Christ, it doesn't matter when in the building, which building I'm doing it in.
You know what Christ did?
Oh, you turn over tables? Isn't that violence? Isn't that violence?
Yes, because he was whipping. So, he took out his whip and started whipping the people. So if Christ is flipping over tables because you desecrating the temple, my God is a man of war.
Wow.
You walk around them Jericho walls, them bitches fell down. You know what I'm talking about? That's what I'm talking about.
So she's serving a God of violence.
Yes, I am.
And it sounds as if God is who we want him to be in our head.
No, it's in the Bible. It's in Genesis.
It's in Genesis. Who wrote that, by the way?
The Israelites.
Oh, you sure?
I'm positive.
Were you there?
I was there in spirit and in truth.
I can't even say the no. I can't even say the no.
And in truth. I was there in spirit.
You almost said the no, though.
Spirit and truth. I was there in spirit.
Listen. I don't have a problem with it. If it brings young people to the church.
It's not going to bring
If it brings young people to hear.
It's supposed to change. No, it's
here's the problem. You know what the sad part is? There was 115 people who came to Christ that night. That didn't make the news. You see how that works?
Because, so why? So wait.
No, but that goes to show you. No. That goes to show you that more happened in that building than just the snippet of Walk It Out or Lean and Sway and Swag and Swing was played.
Okay,
but nobody wants to focus on the fact that there had to be some Bible preached in that setting that caused somebody to change their life. 115 of them reported, right? That says, you know what, I'm going to turn my life around. Now, guess what? Maybe playing Walk It Out might cause them to come back next Sunday.
Here's my question to you. Do you think by just saying the words, and then going back out in the street and living the same life makes you saved?
Do you think coming to church?
Can you not answer the question with a question? I'm just asking
you. Do you think
question.
coming to church? We're gonna answer it together.
I'm not gonna answer your question.
Answer it together.
I'm not gonna answer your question because you're not gonna answer my question.
We're gonna answer it in stereo. You and I are gonna answer. No, we're gonna do twins. We're gonna twin.
it.
Do you think going to church every single Sunday, sitting in the pew, reading the Bible, driving your car, listening to gospel music, not eating pork, not eating beef, just eating fish and 5 loaves of bread makes you a Christian person?
Are you?
No, let's say it together. We're gonna say it together. Because I'm answering your question and you answer mine.
No, because my question
we're going to answer the questions together.
No, that's not.
Going in the building does not make you a Christian. In fact, I've seen people who call themselves Christians who go to church every Sunday.
You have to stop it.
Are the most evil individuals I've ever seen. Let's talk about the Catholic Church. Were we molesting kids in the name of God?
I don't trust the. I don't.
No. Hold on.
I don't even.
Hold on.
Can we?
What about the Catholic Church?
You're running past my question because you said
about the Catholic Church?
Oh my gosh! Can we go back to my question?
Okay.
You set the premise that 150 people were saved. That's what you said.
Right.
So my question to you, which is separate and apart from the question that you asked me, my question to you is that do you believe that by just saying the words and living your life the exact same way you lived it prior to saying those words, do you believe? And I'm just asking, it's not to catch you up.
No.
Do you
we're
believe
Diva
that
Court.
makes you?
We are edutainment.
Do you believe that
we're
makes you
helping
saved?
people.
Do you believe that makes you saved?
Okay, I believe it makes you saved if you've decided in your head, I accept the Lord Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. Because that's what I was raised to think, is that you just have to say these little words. I believe that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. God save me from my sins. And you go out and you try to live a life that is Christ-like.
So
what do I believe is Christ-like might be different from what you believe is Christ-like.
So let me ask you a follow-up question.
Hold on. But because we have different definitions in our head of what we think is living Christ-like, my answer to your question might be no. The answer to that question for someone else might be yes. So what I'm saying to you is we can't be so rigid, and that's why we are losing people to Christ, because we are giving them this boxed up definition saying, check, that's, you have to do that.
I think we're losing people to Christ because the rules are so loosey-goosey.
No, we should not have rules other than do good so that good will follow you.
Every person that I know that used to believe in Christ or on the verge, or maybe they do, but they don't want to mess with the churches because they say they all hypocrites because you don't.
And let me tell you what they find hypocrisy in. Because they come to the stage, like you say, the 115, they come to the stage, they change the way they live their lives. They don't go to clubs anymore. They only go to church now. They cross kids across the street as crossing guards, and then they sit in judgment in everybody who goes to a club.
That's not.
Oh, you're going to hell in a peanut shell. That's
saying.
what's running people off. That the
115
who decided to turn their lives over now become people who are judgmental of other people who were where they were the day before they walked down to the stage.
That's still not Christ-like. So that's still part of the problem.
No, the judgment.
Okay,
it's the
but
judgment.
Judgment is the judge. Here's the thing: the Bible says you can judge. You're supposed to have.
No, you
yes,
cannot judge not so that he not be judged.
No. And they set up judgments in the Old
you're
Testament.
talking about consequences separate from judgment.
Right.
I'm not judging you. And if I'm going to judge you, then I need to punish you.
No, you're not. I can't condemn you.
No, that's what people are doing. They're condemning people, calling it judgment.
You can't condemn people.
You condemn
don't have a hell
people.
To put somebody in.
That's my point. People who become Christians or call themselves Christians or think that they're worthier or holier than somebody else because they dance to walk it out in a building is a person who is condemning. You going to hell because you're doing the same thing you did in the club last night.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the standard is so the leaders of the church are living their lives. However, they're money hungry. They're committing adultery. They're doing everything that is against.
That's a blanket statement. You can't say that.
Well,
that's like saying all black people are crooks.
Gosh.
All black people smoke weed. All Jamaicans smoke weed. That's not true. There's blanket statements. All white people are racist. You cannot make a blanket statement. There's no blanket statement that's warranted.
I just think that Christianity is just so loosey-goosey. You don't know who's right.
The problem you have is your definition
believes.
of Christianity is what's tripping you up. Your definition of Christianity should be, has this person done well? Are they treating people kindly? Are they not doing any harm to anybody else? Do no harm. Just do no harm. If we were to live our lives making sure that our actions did not do any harm to another individual, we'd be fine. We're not going to get it right every time. I'm not saying anybody's perfect. You're not perfect. There's things about your life that I could look at and say, you should be condemned to hell.
But Christ said, be perfect like your Father. And I think if we just try to live our life,
what you're repeating is an interpretation that somebody else told you.
Everything we know is an interpretation of what somebody else tells us.
That's my point. That's what I'm saying to you. When you get education, you get knowledge, and you get age behind you.
All of that is an interpretation of what somebody else
there's
told
no
you.
interpretation about when I stub my toe, it hurts. That's not interpretation. That's I felt that.
Oh my gosh, you and these false equivalencies. You be moving the goalposts on me every time.
No,
we're not talking about
having a baby hurts. How do I know I had babies?
We're not talking about
I mean,
physical.
if she's moving the goalpost, I mean, it sounds like you're moving the stadium.
Shut up.
The game just moving.
Who allowed you to talk?
It sounds like you changing games from goalposts
You
to,
keep moving
to
the
basketball
goalposts.
goals.
We're talking about
soccer goals.
morality. You talking about physical things that hurt. Like you're moving the goalposts.
Listen, you cannot regulate morality. That's what I've
I'm
learned
not
as
saying
I've
that you-
aged. Listen, as I've aged, the more education I get, the longer I live, the more different cultures I experience. I realize you cannot regulate morality. Morality is internal. And the problem is, growing up, it was defined as external for us. The person must do that. The person must do this. And we set up parameters and we set up check boxes and we check those boxes, and then we condemn people when we checked off our boxes and we can't check them all off for the things that they're supposed to do. And that's what I've learned. I've grown and I've learned that
You're supposed to work out your own salvation.
you got to live for yourself.
Right.
You can't
So
live for others. And the problem is regulating others' conduct
Listen, you
is
can't-
alienating. And the church alienated people.
You are paintbrushing me with the talking points of Christians who are condemning others. I'm not doing that. All I'm saying is that if you Christians are supposed to be, and I don't even want to say Christians, God's people are supposed to be the light of the earth. They're supposed to be the light of the earth.
Define the light.
According to the Bible.
No, define the light. So if I'm an individual that's living and you say a conclusory statement to me, God's people are supposed to be the light of the earth.
My
the first thing I want to know is, what does
resonates.
light, no, but what does light mean? Define light. Is light eating 2 fishes and drinking no wine? You understand? Is light meaning that I teach at a school, an elementary school in the poverty
Those
areas?
who know won't
Is
tell,
light-
and those who tell won't
is
know.
Light,
That's
you,
the
no,
answer.
but that's the problem. If you're trying to educate someone, you can't. Let me tell you something.
Use the
I heard
Bible.
a joke. I heard a joke one time that said, you know that a man made a stop sign because if a woman made it, it wouldn't say stop. It would say, when you get right here, you should know what to do. That's your stop sign. Your stop sign says, I'm not going to put the word STOP and say, when you see this word, it means stop. You want to say, when you get right here, you should know what to do. So you cannot say to someone,
actions.
especially a child, if I came to your
I want to
class.
hear about William Murphy going
Listen
out.
to me.
And
William Murphy
helping-
is going out, but that
No,
didn't get covered. You don't know William Murphy.
I know, but
We
that's what I'm
watched
saying.
5 seconds of
That's what I'm
news.
saying.
We watched
I wanna hear about that. I
No,
wanna
you don't
hear
want to hear
about
about that. You want to go
secular
research
music.
that. Do something to find
wanna
out
hear
about
about
William
all that.
Murphy. Don't wait on somebody to tell you who William Murphy is.
He should
go
have
ask
he
William
should have a
Murphy.
PR.
No, he don't
should
need a
have
PR. You saw. You just said
he
that.
got some CDs.
You
He got PR.
Listen to me. You just said the liquor store don't market. So why should William Murphy have to market? Let him do like the liquor store. You go in there and find out what's good.
I'm not
That's
here
my
for it.
point. If you're trying to
If we
teach a
can't tell the
child,
difference,
no, listen. If you're trying to
You're a
teach a
cute
child,
girl.
if you're trying to teach a child, right?
you teach the
You
child by
can't say
actions,
to the
not just
child,
words.
"Hey, look at here. See this math problem? Those who know don't tell, and those who tell don't
No.
know."
What I'm saying is that you teach a child by action.
That's what math felt.
You
really
teach
felt
this
like.
child.
That's how it felt, right?
You teach
When you
this
took a
child by
math class.
action in church.
No,
it's- all
when you
hear
took
is
algebra,
words.
that's how it felt for you, didn't it?
No, especially
I was good in
especially
math.
when you have people in class that didn't want to tell you how to do it. So those who know don't tell.
And those who tell won't know. That is true. But what I'm saying is that you teach by action. In church, it's just a lot of lip
So
service.
listen to me. There's more than one action that William Murphy has engaged in. And if I really want to know what his actions are, I need to do my homework.
Do you
I need
know?
to do my homework.
Do you know?
I don't know, and that's why
you
I'm
know?
not judging him. But I'm looking at the snippet, and I'm putting the snippet in context. And I'm saying that if that were my church, that's what I would play. Walk it out. Because this life, you're going to have to walk it out. That's just my belief. I believe you should not be sitting in judgment and condemning anyone.
It's not about sitting in judgment.
It is about sitting in judgment.
We sit in judgment every day about things all day. We have opinions about things
doesn't
all day.
make it
It's
right.
my opinion.
It doesn't make it right.
It's my opinion that if you playing secular music in the church,
Who
it ain't
determines
no
whether it's
church I wanna
secular or
be
not?
in. What, huh?
Huh?
It wasn't about Christ.
How do you know? It was. He said, I connected it to Acts.
Oh,
He
okay.
preached about Acts, and he was preaching about a portion in the Bible
You know
where
what
somebody was
else-
supposed to be walking.
you know what else
And he
is not
made the
Christ-like?
connection between walking and walking it out. He's like 2024.
You know what else is not
You're going to have to walk
Christ-like?
it out. That means you're going to have some problems.
You know what else is not Christ?
What's not Christ-like?
These doctors who are not allowing these women to release.
Look, don't
life
ask. Hey, but
of
you know
these
what?
babies
According to the
before they
Republican
died.
senators in Texas, that is Christ-like to let the baby die in you and not take it out of you so you don't die. Listeners, what are we talking about? We're talking about Texas. In Texas, there
Let me get my
was
drink.
you don't get to drink. That's not Christ-like. You know
Uh,
that?
Christ
Christians-
said keep the party going
No.
when he turned the water into wine. What we doing?
He said don't drink. Don't drink.
Did you not see that comic
It's-
view back in the day?
It's not good to drink.
He turned the water into wine. He's okay.
He said the
with
wedding is over. He picked up all the glasses when the wedding was over. Listeners, what are we talking about? We're talking about an ABC special called On the Brink, where it was talking about the side effects or the devastating effects of the abortion laws in the state of Texas. There were 18 women that were interviewed by Diane Sawyer and a co-host who was on the show.
the main researcher.
And
of
the main researcher. I can't remember her name. Shame on me for not knowing her name. Producer, could you find the name?
And she was a black woman.
Isn't that
too.
sad? That is
It's
sad. I'm
and pathetic.
embarrassed.
Guess
I'm
what?
embarrassed,
I don't know
listeners.
her name either.
But Diane Sawyer and one of the black female reporters did a segment on the effects, the devastating effects of the abortion laws across the country. And they focused on the state of Texas. And in the state of Texas, they interviewed 18 women of all walks of life. They were Asian women, there were Hispanic women, there were black women, there were white women, and they were also there with their spouses. And they were talking in this interview segment about the fact that their wives were pregnant with non-viable pregnancies and that the children or the babies that they were pregnant with, the fetuses, they don't call them a baby. Let me go back to the medical term. The medical term is fetus.
They called it a
Diane
baby.
Sawyer and Rachel Scott. Thank you, producer.
They called it the
Rachel
baby.
Scott, black female Rachel Scott was the person who went out and started it. And Diane Sawyer contacted Rachel
Say black
and
female.
said, black female, and contacted Rachel Scott and said to Rachel, let me help you with this. This is a great story. I had no idea. You're doing good work, and I want to help you get it off the ground. And I'm certain because Diane Sawyer's name has such recognition, she carries so much clout,
It allowed her
that
to.
it allowed her to
Yeah.
get the platform.
Shout out to Diane Sawyer. That was a good move, Diane
yes,
Sawyer.
it was to Diane Sawyer for
Because she could have just took her story.
she enlarged the platform.
right. She could have just.
She didn't take the story, and she told the truth about how the story came
Right.
about
She could have just took the story.
to Diane Sawyer.
That's a rare thing. Now.
Not stealing, no
Not steering
appropriation,
in that.
no appropriation.
Right.
All right, so I cried tears when I watched the segment.
Mm-hmm.
And I cried tears because I could sympathize as someone who has had several pregnancies.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them were viable.
Mm-hmm.
And one was in my tube.
Mm.
And I cannot understand. I can relate to how it felt when I knew my life was at risk
Right.
and how urgent it was that an ectopic pregnancy has to be dealt with because it's time sensitive. And it's time sensitive for several reasons, not just my death, but the ability for me to have other children, to have another pregnancy.
But I don't think it's not to take away from your story because your story is very powerful, but ectopic pregnancy wasn't one of the reasons because ectopic pregnancy is a reason for them to automatically do it.
Well, I take that back. I think you're wrong. And here's what I mean by you're wrong. There were women who actually qualified based on the exceptions in the law, but the threats from the Attorney General to prosecute and criminalize any doctor who did the procedure caused the doctors to say, I'm not going to run the risk.
Well, no, not for ectopic because ectopic,
even in
there wasn't one.
Because remember, the AG is a man. Does he know the difference between
No,
a topic
but
and a pregnancy?
he does
no,
not.
but
He does not.
No, but the doctors have a history of what ectopic pregnancy does compared
but
to the
remember,
No.
the
Let
AG's not a
Can
doctor.
I just
Okay,
can I
get
just
your point.
say it?
Get your point out.
God,
Get your point out.
ugh.
Get your point out.
Okay, so the one lady who was from Louisiana, she had a baby who was missing a skull. So the doctors couldn't figure out, like, well, what do they mean? Is this when the baby? Is it when the baby comes
No,
out?
the doctors knew the law is what they were fighting over,
You're
whether
not
the
even
law.
allowing me to finish what I'm
Go
saying.
ahead, finish your point.
Okay. Initially, the doctors were trying, they know what the law is, but it has to be to where the woman is pretty much going to die. So with that being said, they were like, well, how close does she have to be to death? Does it have to be preventative death, or does she have to be dying in order for this to happen? Or, how much septic could she be? Even to the point where you have to be able to smell it to know that this is that rank where we know you're that septic and you will die. The doctors were saying that's how close they had to be with an ectopic pregnancy, because of the history of it can kill you immediately. It's just like a what do you call that when you get like a brain?
Oh, you talking about aneurysm?
Aneurysm in your head. They know it. That they got to catch it immediately because it can kill you instantly. So what I'm saying is ectopic pregnancy wasn't on there, but there were so many other horrible things where babies were dying in the stomach, but the mother's not dead, so that doesn't count, and that they were fighting with. So that's what I was saying. Like, ectopic pregnancy wasn't in that realm of who couldn't get a abortion. But I do want to say, because I sit on this platform saying that I am pro-life. In that, in these cases, like, these women are making one of the hardest decisions ever. Not only do they want this baby is not viable, this baby is dying, and their life is being taken. It's such a devastating travesty to deal with. And then to have a doctor tell you, which I'm more so annoyed with the doctors and the law not being clear, but especially with the doctors for not being able to say, well, according to, what is it? What is the law that you have to do what's best for the Hippocratic Oath? Mm-hmm. That they didn't take a stand on their Hippocratic Oath. It's like, it just reminds me, because everything that kept popping up was these doctors are just so weak, because it just reminds me of back when there was slavery and it was like certain white people who know that they could get murdered, they could get killed, they could lose their job, they could be blackballed, they could do these. Those were the people that made the changes, that they fought the system and took care of business instantly.
Do you realize, though, that some of those people did die, did lose their job, and did lose their family?
But that's the thing. If
that,
you don't, but,
no.
But
that goes back to I think your position is correct, but your direction is misplaced.
Okay.
And I think your direction should be back towards legislation that leaves a woman's
takes
body
too long.
That leaves a woman's body to her and her treating physician.
But in this moment, when this woman is about to die and you know it, but you send her home, in that moment is when you make the decision.
No, I'm not.
It's for
listen
me.
to me.
No. For
you
me,
have a lot of
I think
people.
The issue here is the
malpractice.
fact that you have a third party that's telling another party that they have to go through an obstacle course that could end up to them losing their job.
Correct.
But that's
not fair.
I understand
But
that you
fair.
can lose your job. You can
losing your job at that point in life is akin to losing your life.
Of course. No, let me tell you something.
No.
What you're doing is you're conflating, and you look who talks about you're not doing analogies that are related
false
to what's
equivalency.
Look here. Let me tell you something. Here's the deal. It's easy to say after you look at a segment like this, oh, the doctors are weak. Wait.
It's very easy for me to say that because I've seen people.
I have a family.
No.
I have children.
No.
I have a practice.
So did
I have other patients that are relying on me. And you want me to ruin, instead of you going to a poll and voting out these people who are doing these things to put laws in place. And instead of doing that, you want me, the person who still got student loans, that still got bills, that still got a mortgage, that still got kids that are young, that are in elementary school or middle school or high school, that want to live a life. You want me to sacrifice myself so that tomorrow the laws,
you're a doctor.
Hold up. Tomorrow the laws are going to be the same.
You're a doctor.
Tomorrow the laws are going to be the same.
You're a doctor.
So how many OBGYNs? No, it's not a Hippocratic oath. It's a Hippocratic oath. So how many?
You're supposed to do no harm. And
that's what
you did
said.
harm.
And I'm not doing harm to my family.
Okay.
So I am not killing my.
I'm not going to.
Listen to me.
That.
Take responsibility, voter. Take responsibility.
I didn't vote in Texas.
When you go, no, but I'm talking to the voters. Take responsibility for when you either didn't vote and you went to work instead of going to vote, for when you voted and you voted for this foolishness, not realizing that, wait. So who's going to determine it? Because
but
here's what the law does.
You are thinking micro. I'm thinking you're
thinking
I'm
micro.
Thinking micro. You're thinking macro.
Yes.
I'm thinking micro. Like you sitting here, this woman is in pain. Like I don't know because I know you. And I have had situations. No. I've had no.
I don't think you could compare that. You can't. I
No.
know where you're trying to
this
compare.
This person is
not
in
true.
pain.
Not true.
This person is suffering. This person is dying.
It's like
and
saying
you're like,
to me,
well,
listen
I'm
to
just
me.
gonna wait.
I've gone to court, right? And let me get you where you was gonna go. I'm gonna show you that you're inaccurate. I've gone to court where I don't agree with what the court is doing. I don't agree with how the case is gonna go down. I don't agree with the fact that my client's about to lose their freedom. But what you're asking the doctor to do is what you're asking me to do in a courtroom setting. Instead of saying, all right, we're going to win on appeal. Go on, put your hands behind your back. Not a problem. Go to jail. I understand. I know it's painful. I know your kids. I know I'll take care of it. I know defects will get. I'm going to take care of all the collateral issues that are going to associate it with it. But here's what I can't do. I can't make a flying leap like a squirrel on the judge, knock him upside the head, shoot him in the face, and say, I bet he won't rule like that tomorrow. That's what I'm saying to you. You're asking, it is the same.
False equivalency.
I would be in jail with the client, right? Instead of outside of jail to help the client make changes in the law that will keep another client from having to go through this foolishness.
No,
you're saying to the doctor, sacrifice your whole career in your practice.
Because it's a chilling effect as well. Because
Of course.
if somebody's like, I want to be an OGBYN when I grow up.
I'm not going to school for that.
And then I find out by the end of all them 8 years, 12 years, I get to one patient and I lose my job.
My family, my wife is going to divorce me.
I spent half my life in school and I lose my job.
I don't know.
Off of one patient.
I don't
it's
know.
Not worth it.
It's
not worth it.
To save somebody's life, it will be
No,
worth it
you're not saving somebody's life.
You are saving somebody's life.
No, there's so many of them dying across your state.
Saving one life.
Because no, that one is not worth it.
Putting
Go vote.
You're putting a Band-Aid on the problem.
Of course, instead of fixing it. You have cancer, take this Tylenol. You have cancer, take this Tylenol. The doctor is the Tylenol, right? The chemotherapy and the treatment and removal of the breast.
And the cancer is the radiation that you're getting every day from your cell phone or something like that.
You can't. You cannot
I just
put a Band-Aid on something that needs
I mean,
surgery.
I'm pretty sure. Can't the doctors be sued?
No, they can be prosecuted.
No, that's not what I'm asking.
The doctor wouldn't care if you could sue him. I think if you said to the doctor, we're going to sue you, he'd be like, great, ma'am, come on, let me do the procedure. But if you're the attorney general, you got to watch the entire segment because the attorney general was on the news saying, if you do this procedure, I'm going to lock you up and you going to jail. Now you in jail. You can't treat the patient that's going to be delivered tomorrow.
No.
You're OBGYN.
Can I ask you the question as the lawyer? So, because the discretionary is discretionary and there are some people who had to have like the medical board come in and the medical board wouldn't convene. Like, can you sue the hospital and stuff for that? I mean, I guess you could sue them, right?
The law is in your legislation. You don't have a claim
but no, what I'm saying
against
is
anybody
that
in the medical field for following the law. It's like suing me because you and I had an agreement
I don't like this
that I'm going to sell you 5 pounds of
Can
weed.
we talk about something else?
And you filed a lawsuit against me and said, Marsha took my 1,000 and said she was going to sell me 5 pounds of weed. It's not legal, so you can't get no money.
So what about the lady? There was a medical board that had to convene, and the medical board decided we weren't going to come in on the weekend to convene. Like, can I sue the hospital for that?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am, because there's nothing in the statute that says you can't have this abortion. There's nothing in the AG's mouth that says, oh, if they convene on Saturday, they have to because the statute says so. Nothing in your abortion is illegal statute says, however, if a woman needs it, a medical board must convene no matter what day of the week it is.
So the statute doesn't even say that there has to be a medical board.
That's my
point. So it's opinion of the doctor.
So if the medical board is saying, I don't even have to be here as a board. You think I have to be here on a Saturday?
So my question, I need you to be more objective right now. I get it.
Help me bend the laws to what I really wanted to say.
I'm asking you in a more objective manner, just probing questions. Okay. So what I'm saying is that the law says it's at the doctor's discretion, right?
And the AG says it's not.
But
because if the doctor does it, I'm going to lock him up.
All right, let's talk about the next conversation.
That's my point. If the AG is saying...
It doesn't matter. I understand that the AG can lock them up.
I'm not going to jail. I don't care what your statute says.
Right, let's talk, because you're not even... I'm not leading. Maybe it's not you thinking.
No,
I'm
you're
leading
looking for a civil claim, and I'm telling you don't have a civil claim against a doctor. Go die. Let your husband raise the other kids.
So
you have 3 children. That's good. Let your husband raise the other 2.
If the law says it's under the doctor's discretion, and I can prove that I have the medical information to prove that I was going to die, and you was like, oh well, and just let me go. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't I have a civil claim?
You don't. Because I followed the law. And in my discretion, I didn't think it meets the legal requirement.
Okay.
Boom.
The problem, I see what you're trying to say, Dina. I see what you're trying to say.
Please.
You going to whisper now? You got another whisper?
I think the issue is that the other side can always interpret it differently. And that's the thing about law that people don't understand is
it's
that
gray.
It can be subjective and it can be changed around and you argue. That's why whenever you're in law school, they're like, argue both sides of this. Right. And you're like, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, if I was on the jury, I would allow for the doctors to be sued.
But that's just up to the...
That's you. What about the other 11 that says, I don't think he should be sued?
She was about to die. And the doctor ain't good enough at his job to understand that?
No. Well, guess what? Your legislators put it in place. And I think if you didn't vote him out...
But this is not about the legislators.
If you didn't vote him out...
This is about the doctor's actions.
No. If you didn't vote him out, that means you wanted that law.
Oh, my gosh. Then I'll be following... Your Honor, this juror is bringing evidence into this case that has nothing to do with the case. She needs to be removed.
Your Honor, I'm upset she's deliberating and she won't cooperate. It's not deliberate, it's cooperate.
Your Honor, she's bringing in information that has nothing to do with this case. And you said it.
You've got to get rid of
it. Wait a minute.
You've got to listen.
That's what your judge would be saying.
Listen, listeners, you got to get rid of your 85, 90-year-old old white men passing laws about vaginas because they don't have one.
And their white women counterparts.
Get rid of it. Please stop. These women are dying. One lady she had to travel 1,000 miles. By the time she got there.
Yeah, there should be an exception to this
By
rule.
the time she got there, though, the baby was dead inside of her. And the doctor said, it has to be an emergency surgery now. I can't schedule it because we don't know how long the fetus has been dead. And you're going to be septic. Right. And you might go home and I schedule you for a week. And I don't know how much time you have. Right. Because while you were running around from state to state, neighboring states trying to get one done, we don't know how much time you have. Yeah. Nobody can tell you how long that child's been dead.
And you know, one of the other things was like when the woman was just like, you know, when she was traveling to go get her abortion and she was still visibly pregnant and everybody was just like, oh, congratulations. And wanted to kind of touch. What's up with random people touching you? But they wanted to like
the producer just gave you the sound regarding that touching.
Like, don't.
That's the alarm for not touching.
Like, hey. And they wanted to touch her stomach and stuff like that, and the baby is just dying. And
I don't ask people, are you pregnant? I don't do that.
No, she was visibly
I let you.
pregnant.
No, but I don't care. I let you tell me because your belly could be big.
And first of all, I'm not invested in a stranger being pregnant.
I'm not touching you. I'm not asking you if you're pregnant because I know there are fat women that get embarrassed all the time about people going, when are you
Did I ever tell you this story? When I was younger, I was in college and I worked for Foot Locker. And this one lady, she was just being so nasty to somebody else, right? Just so nasty, like just really rude and disrespectful. And then she came to the to check out, and I mean I heard her, but I wasn't like that invested to stop it from happening. So she came to check out, and I'm checking her, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, when is the baby coming out?" And I'm not pregnant, and I was thinking, my bad. She looked pregnant, like it wasn't even like she was fat. It was like round, and it could have been a tumor. Point. But my point was, well, you shouldn't be talking about nobody with your fat ass. That was my point.
That's not.
It wasn't my point, but in retrospect,
but you were glad.
I'm glad I got her.
Something
ass.
Insulting happened.
Right? Like, congratulations on the baby.
So she was insulting everybody else.
Yeah,
she deserved to be insulted.
Hey,
are you a tit for tat?
Quick.
Are you a tit?
No,
for
because
tat?
I honestly was being honest with her.
You honestly thought she was.
I honestly thought she was pregnant, and maybe it was more.
And then you were happy that it was insulting.
Exactly, but maybe it was to kind of, you know, loosen her up from being so bitchy. You know what I'm saying?
So
like,
it had an unintended consequence that should have been a consequence.
Exactly. Whoop, there it is. I thought you knew.
All right, listeners. A Vegas judge got pounced upon in the sentencing of a defendant. Okay, what are we talking about? We're talking about a Las Vegas judge who was doing a probation revocation of a defendant who had been sentenced by her on numerous occasions based on her recitation of his prior convictions. And in the middle of sentencing him, she looks down and is starting to give him a tongue lashing. Well, I think it's time for you to get and she hears a kerfuffle. And when she looks up, she sees a flying black male coming towards her, and she was not able to escape. All right. It's serious business. So we're going to talk about serious business first.
Can we do we have
wanna
to?
laugh
I want to
first?
laugh
You wanna
first.
laugh first?
I want to laugh
All
first.
right. Co-Diva wants to laugh first, and then we talk about the serious business.
This is the quintessential example of my nigga, watch what you say. Ain't no more play in GA.
I should not have left
Ever to find out.
Listen.
Or you got to keep your head up.
You are horrible. You are horrible. You are horrible. All right. So what's really funny about something as serious as this is that man looked like a flying squirrel.
He did.
Like he was from
Like his body went completely
a
horizontal.
National Geographic
His body went horizontal.
episode where and now the animal will pounce. I mean, that's all was missing from the video.
Out here, just like a wild animal in the woods, and we're looking. Oh my goodness, he's about to pounce on a small praying. Oh, it's got it. and it came across like that. And it's like, geez.
It was.
Wait,
it
was that yours? Like, jeez.
It's like,
Jeez.
jeez.
My
No, let me tell you something. The sheriff's department, somebody should be fired. If you're not fired, you should be disciplined. Here's why I say that.
Can I give you one more song?
Oh my God! Can we
Don't
not get
talk
it?
no shit. It won't be no shit. Let me tell you, mother, who y'all with.
Could you please not say
I
that?
think what makes it funnier, which is sad, is that he was talking about like
How
he was
reformed he
changing.
how
was.
reformed he was.
Or I try to do the right thing under all circumstances, but sometimes it's so hard.
But he proved it.
It was
He
hard.
said it was sometimes it's
He
hard.
said it was hard.
Wait, it's hard out here for a pimp.
Oh my God! You can't. I'm gonna need you
Oh
to
my gosh.
get your
Is it
Christian
bad?
songs back
Is
because
it bad?
that's not Christian like.
Oh,
Okay?
I'm
So-
not. I am
so
a follower
be
of
careful.
Christ.
Be
I am
careful.
not a Christian.
You might be following him on Instagram.
Christ flipped over the
That's
tables.
his name, Jesus. I was
Christ-
following Jesus.
Christ flipped over the tables.
I wasn't
okay?
following Christ.
But-
Listen to me. He was
Is it-
talking about being reformed.
Oh my gosh.
Judge, please don't put
I'm
me
on
in
my
jail.
medicine.
I'm not on my medicine.
He is on his medicine now.
Oh, he's back on
He's
it?
back on
Because
his
he wasn't
medicine.
on it that day.
He
So,
said he
or the dose wasn't
That
strong
wasn't
enough.
It ain't working.
Let me tell you something. He was in the mid-sentence of telling her how reformed he was and how difficult he was, and he's a changed person, and he's making better decisions. And she said, and I think it's time for you to learn a little lesson and look down. And that man said, yeah, but I did say it was hard.
It's hard to make a right decision.
It was
out
hard
here.
for me to do it. I didn't say it was easy.
But
So-
no, she just started rattling off everything he did. Domestic violence. Oh,
Yeah.
head up.
Yeah.
Keeping your head.
Yeah, head
head
wasn't up. But let me tell you what sheriff's department could do better. The judge that revokes a defendant 99.9% of the time is the judge that sentenced the defendant. Listeners, the only time the judge who's doing the revocation is not the judge that's doing the sentence is if the judge who did the sentence has retired or passed away. And then the judge who takes that seat in that division is the person who would do the sentencing. Even in that scenario, the new judge also has the defendant's history. They also have what they were charged with, what they were sentenced with, what the GCIC or the FCIC or whatever you call the IC in your state. They know who this person is from a criminal perspective.
Yeah.
They also know from a rehabilitative perspective, because if they've sent the person to any anger management classes or they've sent the probation officer,
And he failed. They
the
said
probation officer is going to be able to tell you they've completed what you said, judge, or they have not completed what the
he
sentence
failed.
was.
He was taking some type of. He was doing something, and he was like, "And you didn't, and you failed that."
Listen to me. The man is going to fail if the man has mental health history. And to be honest with you, the way he was able to physically leap from where he was standing down with his attorney, honey, that boy
he was in the wrong court, honestly. He should be out there catching my rebounds.
The basketball court.
Basketball court.
Well, there you go. The tennis court is something.
Hey, some court, but not this court. Not a court of law.
The volleyball court.
The volleyball court,
nice.
sir. The tennis court. The pickleball court. The basketball court. Any court except the court of law. Because that joker leaped
he did.
from down low up high.
He should be running track. Like, he could scale.
And he was flying in the air when she looked up and saw him coming.
Horizontally.
Yes.
He was horizontal.
It was a WWE episode.
Man. Like, he was this high.
He
in the
was
air.
high in the air. He made Michael Jordan look like he wasn't trying.
I believe I can fly.
That too. That part. But the sheriff's department failed this judge miserably. So let's get to the serious part.
Okay, can we say this first?
Not no more songs from you.
No more songs. But the way her attitude was, I'm pretty sure, like, the way she just came off, she don't seem like she a easy person to deal with. You know
She doesn't seem hard though. Because if she was hard, she would be expecting it. You know how if you're a hard judge, you kind of know everybody hates you.
No,
You kind of
no, she could be oblivious. No, well, I mean, you know judges better than I do, but it could be one of those ones like, ain't nobody who gonna check me, boo.
I didn't see that in her.
You don't think
I just saw.
I mean, she had her head down like.
That's why I felt like it was regular day at the office. Regular day at the office.
If she was like doing this,
yeah. I think regular day at the office. You're in your regular clothing. I've sent it to you before, and I didn't have a problem with you. You never pounced on me before because you got domestic violence 2 times this and that, and I'm rattling off
She's been
your
giving
history.
that man probation for a long time. She knows him.
She knows
and
him.
the thing is, it's one of those things where he was. It's a mundane courtroom anyway. It's a usual run of the mill
Regular day at work.
She must not be handling murder cases or something.
It didn't sound like it. Domestic violence is a misdemeanor.
So she's not doing like.
I don't think she's doing felony stuff. So she's probably revoking him for some of that misdemeanor probation that she put him in custody for. He's probably not even going to be in custody for a long time.
Also, after hitting on the
his
judge,
charges for hitting her is worse. Now he's going to really do real time. Like if he was just doing county time for whatever she was going to revoke him for, he might have had another 6 months to do in custody.
So what do you think he going to get?
Oh, he's going to get a lot. They're going to nail him. I mean, you jump on a judge like that, they're going to make an example out of you, buddy.
Yeah.
That's not what we're doing. We're not going to do that.
Maybe he wanted to go to jail.
No, here's the problem.
Like when you do that,
he wasn't talking like he wanted to go.
He actually is mentally ill.
He sounds like he was mentally ill.
He did.
And I think she knows.
It sounds like he was missing something in his brain.
Of course it does. But the problem is, if you treat the symptoms like you want to do in your abortion remedy, putting a Band-Aid on something that needs surgery, this is what you end up with. Because if a defendant comes before the court has a duty, a responsibility, a moral one, a ethical one, a legal one.
Do you have
to make
ethics
sure
enough to not try to throw me under the bus while you're making your point?
Okay, hold on. She could come from under the bus.
Well, thank you. I'm coming out the door. I'm coming out.
The court has a duty. The legal system has a duty to make sure that when a defendant comes before you and the word mental health, 2 words, mental health has been used to any court of law, it is supposed to be vetted, checked, and treated. Vetted, checked, and treated. Just like how they do alcohol. Like when you plead guilty to something, they say, we'd like you to have drug and alcohol screening and or treatment if necessary. What do? They send you to be screened, right? As part of your plea. If the person who's screening you says, nah, this joker got a problem with alcohol, they're going to treat it. If you get screened for drugs and they go, he's got a problem with drugs, they treat you for it. They put you in a drug treatment program. They put you in an alcohol treatment program. So why, when a person comes and the word mental health is used, do we discount that?
I remember when I got drug tested. And
okay.
And I popped
for your job?
off. No, fuck. Just say, you know why? And I popped off on that lady. I bet you she thought I had mental health issues.
And she should have had you
I
evaluated.
ran downstairs like, Judge, they try to set me up. I don't do no drugs, Judge. They try to set me
Let me
up.
tell you something.
I ain't
They
signing
should
nothing.
have checked you for mental health.
They
No,
probably should.
here's the thing. Nobody mentioned it. A lot of times with a defendant like him, the lawyer has mentioned it.
Yeah.
The probation office has mentioned it. His family has mentioned it. But unfortunately, because healthcare in America is not a priority, it's expensive. And if somebody like him is disenfranchised, does not have health insurance, the system is like, it's very expensive. The treatments are expensive. We maybe you could be somebody.
You know
else's
what you
problem.
taught me? To buck the system at all times.
Oh my God.
That's what I learned.
Peaceful old me?
Yeah.
No.
You taught me to buck the system.
No,
if they tell you unless you are under arrest and they told you what you under arrest for and read you your rights, you can do whatever you want.
What I taught you. No. Please stop. Listeners,
you can do whatever you want.
Listeners, that's
You
misinterpreted.
can't hold me. You can't hold me.
That's misinterpreted. Let me clean it
You
up.
can't hold me.
What
are the charges? What are the charges?
We just told you the charges 6 times.
I want my lawyer.
Okay,
Don't talk to
You
me.
already
Okay.
made your phone call.
Let's add another one. Ma'am, we just added obstruction.
Obstruction? Sir, I am not even moving. Obstruction of my mouth?
Yes.
According to the First Amendment, I have the right to speak. You
And
want
you have
me
the
to
right
speak
to
just in
remain
case I'm
silent?
a criminal.
What she lacks is the
But
capacity.
that's what you taught me.
The right to remain silent.
You taught me.
No,
That's
I
why
taught
I jumped
you.
up. I said, "You're a liar!" And I jumped up and I ran downstairs and I ducked off that elevator. I saw all y'all there. I was like, "They trying to set me up."
That must have been in your dream.
No, that happened in real life. We'll talk about it off screen.
Listen,
That happened in real life.
I taught you the law and to interpret the law and to read the law. Reading is fundamental. Okay? Read, people, read. They will hide it from you in writing. Read.
You don't have to go along. Don't be a lemon. That's what I'm saying.
No, but
what
just
you taught
read.
me.
You remember one time
Don't
I used to
be
teach
a
reading
lemon.
comprehension? They don't teach that anymore. Please, educators, go back to teaching reading comprehension. It is fundamental. It will help bless generations to come because people will read.
You know what else you
and
told me?
comprehend.
If they ain't got no court order over you, they can't tell you what to do. I learned that too. Where's the court order?
Could you please ask this? Am I under arrest? Because if they say yes, just go with them.
I'm gonna go with that. I will ask that first. But at that time, I was not
No,
under arrest.
just ask, am I under arrest? And if they say no, you're free to go. That is law 101.
Yeah.
Am I under arrest? No. Okay, well, I'm leaving.
So what do they say? You're being detained.
No, you say, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I'm not under arrest. I'm leaving.
So when they pull me over for a police ticket, like speeding,
Yeah.
and I'm like, am I under arrest?
He could say yes. And I'm going to get you a citation instead of taking you to jail.
But what if he
Because
say,
people don't
"Ma'am,
understand that.
ma'am,
People
you're
don't
being
understand
detained."
that when I'm giving you this ticket,
Uh-huh.
it's in lieu of taking you to jail. People get that twisted. So in order not to fill the jail up with people who speeding,
Ma'am, you can either
That's a
take
lot
this
of people.
ticket or
that's
go
a
to
lot
jail.
of people.
If you think the
You've been
jails
on
are full.
25, if you think the jails are full, they would really.
25 would be empty.
That's why they call it Fulton.
The highways would be empty and the jails would be full.
So let me explain it to the listeners. The citation is given to you for you to sign. Just sign. You're not signing that you admit that you should have been charged. You're not signing that you're guilty. You're not signing away your rights. You're just signing that I got the paper and it told me what day to come to court.
What if you don't sign?
Well, some jurisdictions are stopping you from signing now because that guy got killed. Okay, so officers were starting to, you remember there's a black man that just got killed in DeKalb County, Georgia. He's a pastor, and he was objecting to signing roadside a citation that he got. He was not involved in the accident, and he said, I'm not involved in the accident. I was just telling y'all what happened. Well, crazy cop showed up. Unfortunately, there's always one in the group, and crazy cop said to him, sign, I'm giving you a citation. He was like, no, I'm not signing that. I didn't do nothing wrong. I'm not part of the accident. So he starts having a trial roadside, which is not another good idea, listeners. Don't try your case roadside. The cop is the judge, the jury, and the executioner roadside. Mm-hmm. Give yourself a fighting chance in court. Don't fight him on the roadside, okay? That's your free part. So here in DeKalb County, Georgia, the officer decides to get into a kerfuffle. The scuffle ensued. He throws the man on the ground. Of course, the man is elderly in his 60s, and the man dies. Okay? So now the family's upset. And that jurisdiction is looking into saying you don't have to sign the citations anymore because roadside should not be death. You understand what I'm saying? A speeding ticket should not be death. A misdemeanor should not be death. It shouldn't be a death sentence by the car. So some jurisdictions.
Sign this. Now, what's the point of me signing? I'm signing on duress.
So now they're starting to rethink. Because remember, life is evolving. We change when we get more education. We change when circumstances present themselves that show us.
Or
that
when
it's not
somebody
working.
dies, we gotta change.
That's a
something.
circumstance. It's a tragic circumstance, but it's a circumstance. So a lot of jurisdictions are leaning towards, hey, they don't have to sign it, officer. Fill it out and give it to them and go.
You already got his ad.
You got his license. You got everything. You got a body. You got a dash cam video showing you pulled him over. You got video showing you gave him the side. Just go. You know where he lives. You know where he is. If it doesn't show up, the judge will issue a warrant for his arrest for failure to appear. And then you can go to the house and pick him up. And then you can kill him. No, I'm just kidding.
He's so dumb.
And then you could take him into custody peacefully without killing him.
There
Okay?
it is.
But the citation is, instead of taking everybody that's speeding to jail, filling up the jails, and we don't have enough judges to have first appearances, because the law says if I take you into custody, I have to have a first appearance within 48 to 72 hours. And if I can't do that fast enough, I still got to let you go anyway. This is crazy. Let's come up with a way to tell these people you have court. And we're going to let each cop, let them sign it, showing proof you got it, so that people don't play the game. Oh, I didn't know I had court, judge. And now we have all these warrants that have to be recalled because the person who was pulled over that got the ticket is lying and saying they never got the ticket. So it was a way to keep people from saying they didn't know they had court because they're signing right below where it says your court date is this date at this time at this address. Now you can't lie and say, the cop never told me when I had court. That's your signature right below it, ma'am. You're signing that you know you have court. Sir, you're signing you know you have court. So it was a way to get people to acknowledge they know they have to come to court regarding the citation. And it was a way of the cop not having to take you to jail. Unfortunately, we now live in a society where death by roadside is very prominent.
It's a common thing.
It's a common thing. So the 62-year-old was killed in Atlanta, and now they're revamping their program. They're like, hey, stop it. Don't do it. Just give them the ticket. Let them walk away. So there's that. So
Because you got a body cam to show that you're giving him the ticket.
you got enough evidence, man. We live in a day of video. Yeah. You know, it's catching police officers that lie. It's catching citizens that lie. It's
Right.
the body cam. If you actually use it, it will protect you from false allegations that the police officer did something wrong. So it's really for everybody's benefit. When it doesn't become everybody's benefit is when you get an officer that wants to manipulate the camera, turn it on, turn it off, or play games with the audio. Because that's what I found in my experience, that some of the officers are not turning on the audio. So although you can see the video, he can still tell you what was said instead of letting you hear it for yourself. I don't like that. I think
that testimony should be thrown out.
I think if the officer turns off the audio, he should not be able to use the video. So now if you want to use video, you got to leave the audio on so that I'll be certain that you don't play that game.
Because isn't it a tampering with evidence?
No, not for them. If it were you and I, yes.
All right.
Speaking of tampering, Paula Abdul has filed a lawsuit.
Somebody was tampering with her.
That somebody was tampering with her.
She too old.
Paula, she said it didn't happen when she was old. She happened when she was young and fresh.
When was she young?
She
was young in the early 90s.
She was young. Well, she has filed a lawsuit against Nigel. I think it's Lithgow or Lithgow. I don't know how to pronounce that name.
Just
too
Nigel.
many consonants and too many vowels. Okay, Lythgoe, and we're gonna call him Nigel. Nigel has resigned. He's also one of the hosts of So You Think You Can Dance, very popular show where people got on there and do their thing and won competitions and became famous choreographers later on. I think the late Twitch, and he was known as Twitch, I don't know his real name, one of the dancers who won one of the episodes. He also came from that show, So You Think You Can Dance. And Nigel resigned after the lawsuit was filed. Looking at this from a legal perspective, listeners, I'm concerned about the resignation because it can send a bad message. It could send a message, and people can draw the inference that you must be guilty of something, Nigel, if you're going to resign in the face of just allegations. Because remember, a lawsuit don't mean you did anything. It could also be you resign because you don't want any harm to come to So You Think You Can Dance, and it's a successful show. And maybe the board and other people who are involved in the show.
Is she still on the show?
She's not on So You Think You Can Dance.
Oh, okay.
And she's not on American Idol. I have seen her come in as a guest. You know how
Okay.
they put in one or two guest individuals on American
He
Idol.
was an American Idol producer.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why they were able to even interact with one another in
Correct.
that sense.
And she's alleging that that's when it happened, when she was
Okay.
one of the hosts on American Idol and he was the producer on American Idol, that she was sexually abused by Nigel, and that she doesn't. Let me tell you something. I don't believe it didn't happen.
I
can't-
believe it probably
listen
did
to me.
happen.
I don't believe it. I can't prove it didn't happen, and I can't prove. Okay, let me say it. Let me word it a different way.
Okay.
Let me word it different. I'm gonna word it really good for the listeners. I can't say it didn't happen, but I don't believe you're going to be able to prove it happened. And that's the problem. So there's a lot of women, yeah, it's going to be he say, she say. Unless it's corroborated by other individuals that decide to come forward and say, I can substantiate it, it's going to be tough. And here's why. If it happened in private settings where nobody else was, it might appear as if Paula's just jumping on
about to write a book.
That's another point.
Yeah.
Somebody might say, Paula's trying to come up. She's trying to
She need a little money in her
resuscitate her
pocket.
career,
She need a little
which
money in
is
her
dead. She's a washed up dancer that nobody knows because In Living Color is also dead. And
I thought that was Jennifer Lopez.
she was on In Living Color
Was
too.
she?
I think so. I think she was one of the fly girls. I don't know.
No, that was Jennifer Lopez.
I know Jennifer was a fly girl for sure
Yeah.
because it's been talked about a lot. But I think Nigel's resignation, he could have resigned because people say, look, there's other things you have done,
You
Nigel.
old as hell.
And
You're not
if you
that
allow,
attractive.
if you allow this to go forward, they're gonna take your deposition. The scariest thing for somebody who is a wrongdoer
It's a deposition.
sometime in their life is a deposition. Listeners, a deposition is an opportunity for you to sit down and answer tough questions under oath, even if your lawyer is present. It is an opportunity for the person suing you to ask questions about things that sometimes are not even related to what they sued you for, but could be connected to what they sued you for. Okay? So it's called discovery. And what are they doing? Trying to discover
something.
So they get to go on a quasi fishing expedition about your life. And that's why sometimes when I take a deposition and I ask things like, who lives with you? They like, what does that have anything to do with it?
You know what's wild? It's the Jacksons that discovered her during
Wow.
during a Los Angeles Lakers game.
Why? Oh, she was
She was a Laker girl.
cheerleader.
She used to be a Laker girl.
Okay,
That's what she
okay,
was.
okay. That's it. So as a Laker girl, the Jacksons was like, hey, you dance really good. You want to be in our group? You could
Nah,
be. And then
in
she
our
said,
group, wanna
guess what? I
coordinate.
can sing. You know what the good news about that was? Back in those days, you had to have talent.
Mhm.
You didn't use auto-tune. You
Yeah.
had to sing, dance, and play an instrument and could act. So a lot of times when you went to a talent show, they would say, okay, let me see what you got. And you would go, la, 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 la. And they were like, okay, what else? You're like, huh?
That's all
Oh,
got.
I can tap. And you tap. And they were like, and what else? And you'd be like, and I can play the violin. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And they'd be
she
like,
became their choreographer
wow.
for certain
certain things.
For certain things. She
That's
said
my
she
point.
said
You had
she,
to have
she
talent.
didn't know she had the she felt uncomfortable telling people that had that much talent how to dance.
Wow.
It must have been Michael Jackson then.
So here's the thing. Now you don't have to have any talent. You just have to have followers.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm dumb enough to follow you, then people will pick me up.
So, my only thing with this is that Paula Abdul, why you wait so long? So again, this
I'm with
is
you
another.
on that, though. You
it's
know what?
another
Finally,
person.
the diva has said something that I'm 24. It's
She's
starting
been
to be
in
a
the game.
good year.
She's been in the game so long. You've been established so long that American Idol, you was old then. You should have said something. So now you just left the door
Listeners,
for everybody
if I
behind
sound
you to get
excited, it's because the
assaulted.
diva has exploded 2024 with something I agree with.
I just don't get it.
I agree with you.
American Idol came out 20 years ago.
You took too
20
long.
years ago, she was 40.
You should have made the allegations while you were on the show.
Yeah.
So Nigel, as a producer, couldn't do it to somebody else who was
Right.
on the show.
Right.
Because if he was willing to victimize you,
He could do it to
he was
somebody else.
victimizing others.
And she was like 40.
It doesn't matter. You can be a victim at 40.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's not like you can't.
Like
say,
she wasn't
I'm
really young.
young.
Yeah.
No, you was 40. You was established, and you was letting him touch on you.
She was young. She was established. She'd already worked with Michael
She wasn't
Jackson.
young.
She already worked with Michael Jackson.
Right when she was young, she was
40
working
is still young.
40, you.
But you're not a baby.
You're not you grown
Not a
enough to like
teenager.
keep your hands to yourself. You old enough to.
But
say
you're
that.
established too. Your career was established.
Exactly. Your
So
career,
they
you're
didn't
not-
have that little noose around your neck. Going,
right. So
"Oh,
maybe
you might
she
ruin
liked
my
it,
career.
and she just realized that everybody, this Me Too moment, she might want to jump.
Maybe
on.
she knew it was wrong, but she didn't want to say nothing.
No, maybe she's being strategic.
She's probably part of the old school. A lot of old school people would be like,
See something, say nothing.
say nothing. Because remember, the industry that she grew up in was
See something, say nothing.
was see
So
something,
you
say
think
nothing.
Michael was feeling on her? Allegedly.
Michael, I don't. Even,
I mean, he did. So do I have to still say allegedly?
Yeah, you have to say allegedly.
I don't even
You have to
think
have
it was-
respect for the dead.
I don't think it was Michael, but somebody in the industry probably.
That's
Joe,
true. It could
allegedly.
be somebody, even on the team. I mean,
don't
think
even
about how
it-
big
I don't
that
even
team
think
is.
it's a huge team. The Jacksons were huge.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
huge. They were huge.
So
I went to a Michael Jackson concert
Maybe-
and I slept outside.
Oh, that you about to say you slept with him. She was young.
This
you didn't
nut-
know no better. You were young. You didn't know no better.
We're looking for Diva host. Go on
Did
YouTube.
you say Diva host?
Yeah, we're looking for a Diva host. Go on YouTube.
I thought
Put
she-
your application
I thought she
in.
said we're looking for Diva hoes.
No, we already have one.
I'm right with you, honey. High five.
No,
No, okay.
we're not hosts. We're ladies.
Well, ladies.
And not of the evening either.
Well, I got you twice today, huh?
No. Ladies and gentlemen, Happy New Year to you. 2024 is off to a great start.
Nice.
Diva Court is closing the show.
Hey.
As we usually say, we'll drink to that.
Mm-hmm.
We're starting to trade roles. Don't forget to look for our episodes every Wednesday. Find us on Spotify,
Spotify,
Apple Podcasts,
Apple,
and Google Podcasts.
Google.
Don't forget to look for our videos every Wednesday when we push them out on YouTube. This is giving you Color Purple vibe. Kudos to Oprah. Color Purple is out. Came out Christmas Day.
She ain't
We
paid
hope it's successful.
Taharji. Is that her name?
Taharji?
Taharji.
Oh my God.
I know you ain't talking about.
Taharji.
I know, but what did you say earlier today?
I did not say Taharji.
You said contact
You make it up.
issues.
Cheers to Oprah and the Color Purple as
not
we
cheering to
support.
that.
I'm gonna drink today.
She didn't pay Taraji.
That's not true. Taraji got paid by Oprah. Stop spreading rumors.
Good enough.
Diva Court is
Allegedly.
about court materials. We don't know anything about Taraji not getting paid by Oprah. That's not true. We support Color Purple because we support sisterhood.
We do support sisterhood.
Uh-huh.
Hey, you know how to give it, girl. Hey. You know, you say black sister woman, I'm okay.
Look, I'm gonna need to keep drinking, ladies and gentlemen. But the show is over.
Okay. Is the show over? Or is it over or is it done?
It's both.
Are we done? All righty then.
Praise the Lord. You let it breathe. Or
You
was it
let
just?
it breathe.
Or was Clay Aiken? I'm not talking about homosexuals.
She's scared to talk about the gays and the Jews. She don't like talking about the gays and the Jews. Who was homosexual? What happened?
I didn't see him producer.
Clay Aiken said
I
he
didn't
went
see
on
him
Idol
producer.
straight and he came out gay.
Somebody,
Was somebody feeling on him?
yeah, an American Idol.
Why we ain't talking about that?
Yeah, an American Idol is the same producer.
He went to American Idol.
Is the same
That
producer
Nigel.
as the one.
So
that
Nigel was
got-
feeling on him?
Yeah, Nigel was the same producer as both show, and the guy come in.
Mario, we were live? Yep. That is cool. Did we get comments?
Yeah, but I couldn't respond to them.
Welcome to another episode of Diva Court. Oh, okay. It's coming down. It's gonna come down.
Please don't show her the sauce, how the sausage is made.
You can show me. You can show me. Go ahead. We did
Don't
owl.
talk about that. You
We
said
did
your
owl.
son go American Idol and come back.
Already 8 minutes right there.
I think you look good. I love the purple vibe.
Where babies were dying in the stomach, but well, the mother's not dead, so that doesn't count. And that they were fighting with.
I gotta stop looking so mean.
Look at it. Look at it. Look at his veins. Look at his veins.
Look how I'm looking at you like, really?
But anyway,
I was cold.
Once I render it,
It was cold? You were cold?
60 frames.
Probably so. I'm still
Sometimes we have to jump.
I have it.
cool.
Purple is our color. The timing
Mario,
was
you
right.
did an excellent job.
Mario was funnier. He was. He is funnier though. It's not like he's making it up or trying.
Well, it's not a competition.
It's not. That's what I'm saying.
You know, we
I'm
just
funnier
go,
than
the show
Dana.
must go.
If I'm funnier than Dana, I'm
Well,
just
you
funnier
know
than
that Mario, she might be lying to you. She might not be telling you.
If I'm
the
funnier
truth.
than Dana, then I'm just.
It's not a competition. We're just enjoying
I'm
each
just
other's
funnier
company.
than Dana. You know.
Have it. You can have it. You won't be the first or the
Stand up.
last.
You stand up.
She needs to sit down.
You need to
Not stand up. Sit down.
You need to stand up.
Sit down.
I'm the stand-up comedian.
That was
No,
Skylar.
you gonna stand up and promote the
She
show.
ain't
I'll
promote
do it
shit.
on my next show.
She like look. She like
Willing to victimize you. He was victimizing others.
And she
They bitching about. No, my show get promoted. They're like Marsha, the host of Diva.
Victimize you.
Girl, they promote us.
You just started.
No, they've been doing it. You the only person that didn't do it. You don't do it. You don't do it. You don't do it.
Tomorrow, may I slide past you? I gotta go pick up this baby. I got one at a birthday party and one who has to go. Dior is the second best middle in DeKalb County.
Isn't that awesome?
Isn't that cool? First in her, first in her region.
Wow. Center from the volleyball. No, good lawyering. That's what that is. Good lawyering.
Here's the other thing. She did that without, you know how she moves. She's
Yeah.
not cognitively thinking, I'm going to be the best.
No, she just doing her thing.
Actually doing
She
it.
just doing her
I
thing.
said, do you know if you actually put effort?
No, she put effort. She won't do it because she don't like it. Let her do it the way she want to do it. Yeah, leave her alone. Yeah.
No.
Hey,
You-
she at the
no,
top.
Marsha, you know how you can, every kid can